On May 20th, Christina disappeared from the cottage, curiously, on the same day that Ronald's cottage mysteriously caught fire.
Why the fuck is Ronald pulling up to the cabbage?
I love this nigga right here.
I don't know who this woman is, but I do, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even like a nigga that like, I wouldn't call myself a Sherlock Holmes type of detective. I'm more a Scooby-Doo nigga. Where's my pen? Shit! Fuck it, nigga, off the memory. The mysterious death of the eight-day bride.
This week on
Shout out to BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed Unsolved, we uncovered the eerie story of the 8th-day bride, a bizarre twisted tale of a hasty marriage, a secluded cottage, and a love triangle with a deadly end. You know, all the makings of a terrible rom-com, but a great case for us.
You don't want a hasty marriage.
You don't want any of those things. A hasty marriage.
Hasty marriage, bad.
Secluded cottage.
I wouldn't mind it.
I'm just saying the combination of these three things together is an amalgam that you don't want.
Bad brew. Let's hear about the bad brew. Let's get a big old ladle full of it.
Yeah, just
Scoop it up, baby. Scoop it up. Let's slurp.
It smells spicy.
Slurp it then, nigga.
All right.
Take it away.
On the evening of May 20th, 1947, the body of 22-year-old...
Where was you that day? See, like, that's the type of questions I would ask when I become a detective. I have no plans of becoming a detective.
Christina Kettlewell was found 150 feet from her honeymoon cottage in just 9 inches of water on the banks of a river in Severn Falls, Ontario. But before we get into the details of her death, let's dissect the circumstances that would lead to the discovery of Christina's body in the river. Christina McCone lived in Mimico, Ontario, and worked at a bank where she was described as a capable employee. On May 12, 1947, Christina eloped with John Ray Kettlewell, a 26-year-old war veteran better known as Jack, after
He did it. CTE. Just keep it a second. I'm not even want to play with it, bro. A war veteran, bro. Bombs, things like that. You know what I'm saying? His brain clearly isn't the same.
knowing each other for 3 years. Christina's family had a concern about the marriage. Ronald Berry, a 28-year-old immigrant from Italy, was Jack's best friend and a professional ballroom dancer. It's said that Jack, Christina, and Ronald spent an inordinate amount of time together. Christina...
Okay. Those two were gay lovers. And she was the middle ground, keeping them on that straight path. So basically, they was all having a, what's it called, a throuple? And there's nothing wrong with that. Not my type of thing, but...
Sister Helen would comment that the family thought that perhaps Ronald was in love with Christina.
So this is the classic case of two people in a relationship, but then there's this best friend who third wheels quite a bit. For instance, I third wheel you and Sarah all the time.
If I'm Christina, I'm putting myself into Christina's mind right now, you know?
Yeah.
A beautiful woman. I'm married to this man, Jack. What's he got going for him? He was a veteran?
Yeah.
Okay, there's Jack.
It's weird to talk to him.
Now let's take a look at this, right? Clearly, they're not a throuple. I've misspoken, whatever that word means. But this what I will say. Now, off the rip, the first times I'm getting is the woman Christina cheated with the best friend. War veteran finds out. He kills that bitch. Simple as that. Some niggas gonna crash out for the pussy. Plenty of niggas will crash out for the pussy. I crash out for the pussy. I wouldn't crash out for the pussy, but
Closed.
And Jack's, let's go elope. Okay, we'll go to the church. Who's this friend of yours?
What's happening right now?
Wow, who is this strapping man who is your friend? This is my friend. Don't worry about it.
Is she blind?
He's just a lousy professional ballroom dancer. My stars. Mama. I can't get over this guy. That's me putting myself into her mind.
That was highly disturbing. I didn't like it.
I
just think if I were a woman in the 40s or 50s,
oh yeah,
and you meet the
40s, I wasn't even paying attention to the timeline. He definitely killed that bitch.
You mean
they barely had, if they even had rights. What year did they get rights? 05? Bro, it wasn't 05, but it was like 50s, 70s. I don't even remember, bro. When did they pass the Female Registration Act or the Female Voting Act? When can females vote? Oh, damn. That shit was in 1919. Okay. All right, well, look, you got to think, right? Slavery probably ended, what, 1930 or 46, around that time, right? But niggas was still racist, right? You got to think about this. Oh, slavery's over. 3 days later, you think they going to be, hey, Jack, you want to sit down, have a drink? Nah, let's get out of here, nigga, right? Even if it was a black and white area. First off, they probably wasn't even releasing them. I'm thinking about this. I'm master. Say, boy, I'll put on the TV. They put the TV on, and, you know what I'm saying, I'm watching TV. I see, what's it, TVs? Well, fuck it. I got two. I'm watching whatever, right? And I'm seeing bill pass, slavery is no longer legal. And I'm looking at all my slaves on my plantation go to work, picking them crops, brushing them horses, feeding them water. And I'm like, I'm not letting these niggas go. You're going to have to come take these niggas. You're going to have to come take these niggas. These is my niggas, boy. I done paid good money for these niggas. And I'm just talking like I'm DiCaprio off Django. But, and even if they did release them, bro, niggas didn't get cool for at least another 40 years, bro. So that lets you know niggas was still sexist. I think my mouse broke.
Ballroom dancer?
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
going to
but
be
he's-
swept off your feet.
but he's in
maybe quite literally if all goes well.
Oh, dear Jesus. Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, sure, I get it. The family was saying that he was in love with her, though. Not the
And
other
when
way
I talk
around.
about the slave shit, it's okay. Because, you know what I'm saying? Look at me. Look at me. This can't be coming from a place of hate. You know what I'm saying? All first D team field, nigga. I probably would have been the inside nigga. I can cook.
Oh,
If I was a slave. It'd be very hard to get me. I'll let you know, nigga. I run a 4 flat in danger. And I would have been like Django. I would have been a bounty hunter. You feel me? With that plantation. Is that the whatchamacallit brothers? Hand me that rifle. Bow! Pop the nigga in the middle of the field. Have my white nigga right next to me. That's what I call on my Wicca.
So I'm a professional ballroom dancer.
Okay, no, please don't do this
My
again. No,
friend-
please
okay,
don't do this
okay,
again.
All right, okay.
Following the elopement, the Kettlewells spent
Yo, you react to music. Yeah, I'll come back tomorrow.
the next few days at an apartment in Toronto on Tyndall Avenue.
Not
Bizarrely,
today.
Ronald joined them for the entirety of their honeymoon, and on May 17th, the trio headed out to Ronald's remote cottage in Severn Falls, only accessible by boat.
Now, we could both agree that
Oh, no,
bringing
I
your
got a
best friend
homeboy
along
that
to your-
react to music though. Look up HM_DeMarcus on Kick. He ain't live though. Wait, I'm gonna tap in. He
honeymoon is an odd choice.
That's a little strange
got better
because the
taste than
honeymoon,
me.
I've heard, is for sex.
Cap.
Yeah, it's for the sexy time, and he's just sitting there in a chair
Just,
eating a peach.
we're going to head down to the hot tub after this, or
Hey guys, could you get some more beer in here? I'm getting a little thirsty.
a little weird.
During their time at the cottage, it's reported that Christina began to act out of character. She would go into crying fits, while at other times seemed completely dazed. Evidence suggests that Christina had
Drug.
conversations with Ronald about whether or not Jack truly loved her. On May 20th, Christina disappeared from the cottage, curiously, on the same day that Ronald's cottage mysteriously caught fire. Ronald returned to the cabin to find a disoriented Jack sitting in the cabin with an apparent head injury and pulled him out of the blaze. He looked for Christina, but couldn't.
Why the fuck is Ronald pulling up to the cabbage? Yo, that shit's suspicious as fuck. I don't believe in such things as like timing like this, right? This isn't a movie. That's not how the real world works. I will understand if it's a random guy on the street trying to be Mr. Save a nigga, but this guy just so happened to pull up to the cottage when it was catching fire. Very suspicious. Now, at a time like this, I want y'all to know that the crime rate was probably, it wasn't even out the roof because crimes aren't being reported because they aren't being caught. Niggas are getting caught in the 40s and shit. You're not getting, there's no video camera. But I'm in the 40s, I'm a mobster. But there's no video camera, shit like that. So you
Find
gotta
her
put that
anywhere.
into perspective. Like, niggas knew it was probably easy as fuck to get away with crime. But people did have more common sense.
In the cottage, Ronald recalled that the cottage burned to the ground in just an hour. He took Jack on a boat to Severn Falls to reach a car to drive him to the hospital and contacted the police. It was
Niggas got
then
getaway
that
boats?
Ronald discovered that the situation became even worse. That evening, Christina's body was found in 9 inches of water just 150 feet away from the cottage by Melville Sweet, an owner of a boathouse in the area. Her body was free from burns or any signs of violence. An official autopsy found traces of codeine in her stomach, but her ultimate
Drugs. I told you.
cause
I
of
said
death
drugs.
was declared a drowning. Interestingly, Major Lawrence Scarterfield, who tried to help put out the fire in the cottage, said he saw no signs of Christina's body in the area when he went to fetch water from the river to help with the flames just hours earlier.
That's interesting.
Maybe this guy's just not good at his job.
Or he moved there later, because her body was found at night, hours later.
Oh, I see. Okay. If you're arriving to a scene and there's a building on fire,
Let's take a look at this. Building on fire, a scene like that. If it's a cottage in remote area, let's say the area is remote, but there's other cottages around, more like a vacation thing. You ever stayed at a vacation or resort? There's houses around, especially on the lake. I know people that live on the lake. So even if it's like vacation homes, there's houses around and things, right? Niggas are what you would call nosy. So if you see a fucking building on fire, ambulance, most of the time people are coming outside. People are looking at you, even if it's on the road, like it'd be a fucking traffic stop to the side and niggas, and then holding up fucking traffic. Like, bitch, if you wanna like get out, but get the fuck out the way. So nobody else seen a body. Who discovered the body again? It's looking a little.
Yeah, I guess
don't
your
know.
focus is on the burning building.
usually people focus on the burning building.
That is true.
Jack, Ronald, and 20 other people were questioned by police in connection with the case. Jack
20?
was interrogated by the police for 3 hours after being released from the hospital, where he was treated for burns, shock, a head injury, and apparent drugging.
Seems odd to drug yourself.
Now we have to not question Jack's intelligence. He is a war veteran, so don't get that
Again,
fucked up.
unless
He was just like, let's cover it up.
Yeah, some codeine for me as well. That'll puzzle him.
That's true. I mean, it's working. I'm puzzled.
However, Jack claimed to not remember anything that occurred after 11
So
a.m.
Jack put a
on
4
the
and a
day
2
of
leader.
Christina's death. Ronald was questioned by the police for a grueling 13 hours, in which he provided a 3,000-word statement that the police would describe as, quote, fantastic, end quote.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I found that very funny,
A
too.
ballroom dancer.
Great statement. We all were blown away. What a
Just imagine
performance.
the cops reading it and just finally putting it down like,
Cause I like
Fantastic.
nigga wrote a book.
I'm sad it's over.
Good read.
Wish I could read it all over again.
Yeah. Good job, sir. You're free.
You ever thought about doing some sci-fi?
Yeah. Can you sign the back of this?
Nah,
On
that's
June 19th, an inquest into Christina's death began, which
That's
became
crazy.
quite the spectacle. The public packed not only the courtroom, but the grounds outside, with some even approaching Jack and Ronald, the main witnesses, for autographs. It should be noted that Jack and
what the fuck is on the back of Jack's head?
Ronald, the main witnesses, for autographs. It should be noted that Jack and Ronald were not on trial for murder. This was simply a case to determine whether or not foul play had been involved in Christina's death. While the highly sensationalized investigation uncovered
What is like the typical statement written? Like how many words is a typical statement written for the police? Let's look that up real quick. Hey Google. How many words? Y'all know a nigga go there, you know what I'm saying? How many words on average is a typical police statement? Okay, so that is average. It is average. It said, oh, y'all can see my screen. When the fuck did I do that? 2,000 to 3,000 words. But this says tips do not exceed 5,000 words. There's only one place we can get this source. Reddit. We expect the statements to be between 1,000 to 1,500 words. Well, how do you know this about police? 1,500. Okay, now 3,000 might be a
Covered
little
many
excessive.
interesting
3,000 is double. We're just gonna take the first thing we see on the internet and we're gonna run with it.
of information. The jury of the inquest ultimately could not agree on whether Christina's death was the result of foul play or not, stating, quote, due to the fact that the post-mortem examination disclosed codeine in the stomach of the deceased, and due to the suspicious fact that she was found drowned, this jury is unable to decide on the evidence given whether or not foul means were employed in her death. And
What if she overdosed, or like, what are the effects of codeine? I don't do things like that. I'm what you call a bitch. No, I'm playing. I just don't do codeine. I'm like a weed type of nigga, and that's on occasion. You know what I'm saying? Gotta stay disciplined. How does codeine feel? Oh shit. How does codeine make you feel? Dizzy, drowsy, confused, or disoriented. What did we see earlier? Earlier they was talking about how she felt weird and confused. What if, this is what I say, like, imagine, just look at my brain for a second, okay? A drugged up bitch is like, and then she just falls, just like that. She just falls into the water, drowns, cause of death, sabotage.
quote, Jack and Ronald were in the clear, as there was no evidence implicating either of them in the death, but their relationships to both Christina and each other were thoroughly exposed in the process. The police report claims that there were signs and evidence that Christina was very distressed by the, quote, unnatural conduct of her husband and Barry, end quote.
Wait a minute. Were they smooching?
Maybe.
I told you them niggas was gay.
Mention a love triangle up top.
A love triangle.
You were just thinking of a love triangle with Ronald and Christina. Not.
Bro, what did I say from the beginning? Gay lovers. Oh, why does it look like I'm throwing up the bulls?
Heteronormative bullshit.
I just tried to.
I apologize. Do you think
they
everyone
caught
in
me.
town was also scratching their heads over I mean, were people...
It's 1945, so yeah.
Yeah, a lot to talk about
Yeah,
then.
probably.
With the circumstances surrounding
And in
her death-
1945, niggas ain't being gay. That's. I'm gonna say the word, right? They was calling people FAGGOTS. They wasn't playing that back in the day. It ain't 2024 time. That's if you gay, get the fuck out of here, bro. Separate bars, all that shit. Niggas wasn't gay publicly and living. I don't know if they lived or not.
laid out.
I'm pretty
Let's
sure
get
there
into
was
the
another
theories
leg.
of just how Christina died. The first theory suggests that Christina may have been dealing with mental illness and killed herself. The largest pieces of evidence that Christina may have killed herself are the several suicide notes written prior to her untimely end that were uncovered during the inquest.
Well, that's it. We can call the video wraps. All right, chat. I fuck with y'all.
The first note, written on Easter Sunday before their engagement and about 5 weeks before the wedding, was addressed to Ronald. In it, she writes that she tried to poison herself and talks about, quote, the uncertainty of receiving a proposal, end quote, from Jack. In it, she claims, quote, this will be the best way out, as I cannot bear to see another girl have him, end quote. Jack recalls Christina being sick
What?
that day, but claimed in his testimony that he was unaware of the suicide note. She wrote another suicide note at the end of April. This time, her intention as detailed in the note was to not only kill herself, but Jack as well. In this note, also addressed to Ronald, she wrote, quote, when you love someone, you really love him, and I know there is no one for me but Jack, and if I cannot have him, I do not intend anyone else to. I waited,
Jack must have some good dick, right? Let's just say what we all been thinking.
as you might say, in the hope that Jack would ask me to marry him, but I now realize I am just a passing fancy, end quote. The last note was written the day before she died. It was addressed to a Mrs. Thomas, who owned a home in Mimico that Christina and Jack stayed in for a little bit. Once done, Christina asked Ronald to mail the letter for her. She writes, quote, Ronnie is in the boat outside somewhere. By the time he gets back, everything will be all over with. He must have been afraid something would happen because he is staying an extra day to make sure we go back to Toronto with him, end quote.
Now I'm suddenly wondering,
Did
if
Jack
Ronnie
know? Yeah.
is concerned
Did they know
for
she was
these people.
I
suicidal?
think Ronnie may have sensed something was wrong and was like, oh, maybe that's why I should go on the honeymoon. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I should stay an extra day. Her saying he's on the boat or something somewhere. By the time he gets back, it's all going to be done.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could interpret as many things. She could be talking about a pot roast or something. But I don't think she's talking about
I'm going to
pot
put it
roast.
out there. I don't think she's talking about pot
I mean, maybe it
roast.
went bad, it burned down the house. You know, I've almost burned down my apartment trying to make cheesy bread. You could interpret that letter however you want, even though there's two letters that
But
preceded
this was the
that
40s. Bitches was in the kitchen back then. That's just what it was.
state her intentions pretty clearly.
All notes were confirmed by a handwriting expert to have been signed by Christina. Ronald held on to all the notes from Christina, but he never told Jack about them until the inquest. Strangely, Ronald was able to and chose
Man, fuck you, nigga. Wait, why the fuck was he holding this shit out, bro? Y'all knew this bitch was fucked up and suicidal, and y'all just gonna like, oh my god, y'all just
to
gonna.
save the letters from his burning cottage.
Okay, if Ronald is in fact innocent, he sees this burning house, it is a little weird that he thinks, oh, let's go find these letters and save them from the fire.
I feel like he is so intertwined in their drama. He knows that getting those letters is going to help clear things up for everyone. I would guess he probably saved Jack. It's not
Got some
totally
time,
burned
better
down.
grab
It's not
those letters
backdraft
that-
yet.
yeah.
Jump back in, grab the letters.
Those exonerate me, good.
Good, got that. Great.
Okay, now where's Christina? I
I know.
Maybe I mean,
Lunchtime.
at that point, I would hope I don't run into her.
Yeah.
Because if she just knocked him out, set the house on fire, I probably would be imagining the bride from the Haunted Mansion with the hatchet in her hand.
Yeah.
Furthermore, one newspaper reports that Christina may have been in the cottage when Ronald rescued Jack. In either his testimony or one of his two lengthy statements given to the police, Ronald claimed to have returned to the cottage after sunbathing and found Jack with blood on his
Wait, this guy's a ballroom dancer. Of course he's gay.
face and clearly disoriented. However, in this
I
description
just
of the
realized
events,
that.
Ronald says that Christina was in the cottage too. When Ronald asked what happened to Jack, Christina did not reply and simply stood there with teary eyes. Ronald carried Jack out of the cottage, and when he went back in for blankets, he saw Christina for the last time. He noted a strong scent of coal oil in the living room, and smoke began spilling out of the kitchen about 15 minutes later. Ronald could not find Christina
kitchen,
when he
it was
returned
her.
for her, and he also noted that a weapon or anything that could have been used in Jack's injury was not to be found.
This is a completely different account.
Drastically different.
I'd like to put it out there that the new version of events that is cataloged here, equally confusing.
Yeah.
It's just still strange.
You got to take the newspaper report with a grain of salt, especially because it does make us look at this case in a very different lens.
Yeah.
While this
Facts.
seems to implicate Christina, it should be noted that this is different from every other telling of the story by Ronald. Crown Counsel C.P. Hope, the lawyer leading the inquest, called Ronald, quote, a liar of the most blatant kind, whose sinister figure permeates the whole of this tragedy, but whose purpose and design are shrouded in mystery, end quote.
This guy's like freaking
Hello, Lily. What's here?
R.L. Stein. It's a good quote.
I'm going to remember that word for word and just start saying that to people.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to be honest with you. You're a liar of the most blatant kind whose sinister figure permeates this whole tragedy, but whose purpose and design are shrouded in mystery.
You might as well have finished that off with In the Twilight Zone. The
Yeah.
guy's like goddamn Rod Serling.
Yeah,
it's
I like it.
it's
I like
unbelievable.
it.
This brings us to the second theory.
On that word.
That
What are you doing on my streams in that word? Go back to work. You gotta bring this money home. You feel me? I told you what it is now. If you ain't,
perhaps
You
Jack
might-
and
if
Ronald
you ain't bringing this
were
money
not so
home, I
innocent.
can't fuck
the
with
first
you.
bit of evidence that suggests the duo may have planned this is a series of insurance policies purchased before Christina's death. Jack took out 2 separate life insurance policies on himself
It's like
and
2
Christina
couples here. The
before
fuck?
the marriage.
Go get that. You gotta be a hustler. You not hustling. They don't need nothing right now. Did you ask them? So you just get on your phone when nobody's there. I have them both.
Each 5,000 Canadian dollar policy conveniently contained a double
Okay.
indemnity clause, which would allow the beneficiary to collect twice the amount if the cause of death was accidental. a sum worth around 200,000 US dollars today.
Wait, what?
Double indemnity clause, which would allow the $1 million policy on himself and Christina's death. Jack took out 2 separate life insurance policies on himself and Christina.
This is what I propose. I'm their slave. Are you trying to tell me that because like, you feel me? Are you trying to you think I can relate to that? Okay, that's what we doing. Look, this is what I propose. First off, this guy's a ballroom dancer. Clearly, he's not straight. I don't even know what a ballroom dancer is. I'm just assuming ballerina. Jack and the other dude are fucking. They've been in love for a while. This bitch, they knew this girl was suicidal, and they used that to their advantage. Now, this is a war veteran. I told y'all niggas, don't underestimate his intelligence. Me and you fucking JSP. Yeah, literally, we're long distance right now. Look, them 2 niggas planned to kill this girl. Got the life insurance money. Right now?
Before the
right now.
marriage. Each 5,000 Canadian dollar policy
you ain't been paying
conveniently
attention.
contained a
Baby,
double
like, what's
indemnity
going on?
clause,
You
which
got
would
a
allow the
headache.
beneficiary to collect twice the amount if the cause of death was accidental, a sum worth around 200,000 US dollars today. Strangely, Ronald was the beneficiary listed on both policies. Ronald had also taken out a 5,000 Canadian dollar insurance policy on his cottage that would later mysteriously burn down and named.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention. It was Ronald's college. This is clearly, I don't believe in coincidences. Not more than 2 coincidences at a time. This has happened to be 3 coincidences. 3 coincidences back to back to back. 3 backs. Clearly, this is what you would call a setup. I have a 2 coincidence rule. 1 coincidence, okay, that's possible. 2 coincidences, you're crossing a fine line. It's very less likely that I won't believe it. In this case, I don't believe it. But 3 coincidences, okay, clearly these are what you would call a setup. This is what you would call a setup.
Jack as his beneficiary. It should be noted that Ronald had failed careers in both construction and insurance. Additionally, the inquest revealed that Jack had given his war gratuity, a payment to Canadian servicemen when discharged, to Ronald, and that Jack had removed all of his family from his will for reasons unknown.
That's interesting. So they both file these insurance claims and list each other as the beneficiaries for a
Bro, these
situation that
niggas were
seems very,
gay. They basically were married without telling you niggas they were married.
very outlandish that just somehow happens shortly after they file these policies.
Could just be bros, you know?
Like what?
Bros that just so happen to get incredibly lucky, I suppose.
Yeah. You know, the beneficiary thing is a little, it's fishy.
Also, Christina's wedding ring became a suspicious detail in the inquest, as it was never recovered. Reports differ as to whether Ronald purchased the ring for Christina, or if Jack borrowed the ring from a married friend, and the true price of the ring is also debated, ranging from $1,000 to $13,000.
Let me get a receipt. Let me get a bill of sale. Like, come on, bro. This is the 1940s. This ain't 2024. They're not typing it up, printing it up. They want your receipt, right, Charles, or whatever, right? It ain't no bitch at the counter. These is real workers back then. People is taking real pride in their jobs. That's just what I'm assuming happened in the 40s. I don't really know. But a bill of sale. I'm pretty sure that motherfucker came on a thick ass paper about this fucking big. You know what I'm saying? That what it say? Bill of sale, name, whatever. Come on, you telling me you don't have it, bro? All real men keep their receipts. I got receipts in the drawer from fucking I don't know when. They in there though. I probably don't even got the shit anymore.
Nonetheless, it was never found after Christina's death.
I mean, it sounded like she was having a rough weekend. It's totally possible.
She just took it off.
She's out there by the docks. She takes that wedding ring off and just throws it.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Teary-eyed.
What if
into the
she
lake.
ate it?
That's true. You could look at it that way, where she was not sure about the marriage. She's obviously maybe about to do something horrible. Let's just chuck
Bro,
this
she
ring.
loves Jack. She's not sure. She loved Jack. Oh, I don't think she was sure that Jack loved her. Bro, I'm telling you, she knew. I think a woman could tell when a nigga's like fucking up. You know, niggas ain't good cheaters. Well, some niggas.
Ring out for solidarity.
Chuck that
Or you could
fucking
look
ring.
at it as they carried out this plan to gain some finance, and then they're like, let's take the ring too. You would think that ring would turn up eventually then if you hawked it. Like at a pawn shop.
Would it? I don't
Yeah,
ring
it's
bell.
the 40s, bro. Them niggas could drive across them niggas could drive 90 miles that way, and they would never find out they sold that ring.
Kinda
Well,
like the same
especially
ring.
after, I mean, this case is quite famous in Canada. That probably would be worth a lot.
Oh yeah, this is Canada, right?
Yeah.
That paints this in a whole new light for me.
Does it?
Facts.
Yeah, they're very.
I thought it was
obviously
America.
The stereotype is that they're a very polite
Yeah,
people.
peaceful.
So this is very funny to me now.
Oh, you're just imagining it
It's
kind of like,
oh jeez.
oh,
Oh, no.
no, he bonked on the head.
Oh. Oh, the dang cottage burned down. Oh,
I used to
no.
think Canada's like that. It's not like that no more. It's a
Oh,
lot of
Jackie.
different races.
Jack's statement to the police after the
Unfortunate.
fire was another fascinating exhibit entered into the inquest. In the statement, Jack states that he and Ronald had been in an intimate relationship for some time.
I told you them niggas was gay. Nigga. So sorry for the intrusion. I don't even mean to be loud. But I told you them niggas was gay. I could tell, bro. Real niggas don't put shit in other. Bro, this nigga's a ballroom dancer. Real niggas don't, bro. Not even on some real nigga shit. Bro, you just don't put your mans in. Nah, this is mans. This is mans. I can't even. I'm not saying mans no more. That's his mans. You don't put your dog in your will or like. I mean, let's. Some niggas really just locked in, but like, bro, they just had too much shit going on, bro. You could just tell them niggas were being a little bit too gay. A little bit too gay.
However, in court, Jack claimed he was coerced to make that statement as the police wanted to build that story in their report.
Man, bro, stop bullshitting me, Jack Kettlewell.
The police commissioner did in fact touch on this relationship in the report of Christina's case. In it, he writes that the relationship between Jack and Ronald was, quote, to put it mildly, to be unnatural, end quote. There was no evidence to prove this relationship, but it was highly suspected. In the inquest, Crown Counsel C.P. Hope didn't believe Jack was coerced and suggested that the two were actually lovers.
Real
Jack
lovers.
finally agreed to this after Hope hammered him
Real
with questions.
lovers.
The Toronto Star describes the questioning in an article from June 20th. Quote, when Kettlewell, after vigorous questioning, agreed with Mr. Hope's repeated suggestion that he and Ronald were male lovers, the fantastic triangle of twisted and thwarted emotions took shape, end quote.
I will say that I, in a weird way, kind of feel bad for them if they didn't do it, because now not only are they being suspected of murder, but they're being outed, which is not cool.
Now I wonder if they drove her to
Outed.
this.
I've never heard
You know,
that
She's
word.
thinking
So
this is
describe
her
it like
idea.
that.
Yeah.
They're driving her to this and sort of they know her moves.
He knew her moves for sure.
This
Ronald
is what
did,
I
'cause
would
she wrote-
say. Now there is not potential. There. Okay, look. This is what I say. I definitely believe they have something. They have 90% them niggas burnt down the house. I do not believe the woman burnt down the house, the cottage. Now to say that they killed her might be a little bit of an understatement. To say that Ronald knew this girl was suicidal, he knew this woman was suicidal, and they could have potentially played that to their advantage to kill her, yeah. Now, I told y'all, Jack was a war hero. Them niggas might be fucked up. But this is Canada. Like, what wars did Canada really have? I don't know. I don't know shit about Canadian history, right? I'm American. But either they killed her or the death just so happened to be one of those coincidences I was talking about. Or they used all the suicide and shit to their advantage to kill her and play it smooth. It's one of the two. This would be a good job though. No, not a good job. This is murder.
Wrote these letters to him.
She's confiding in him.
Yeah.
But he can also be reporting back to Jack.
But for yeah, exactly.
She's going to try and burn the house down. She thinks I'm going to leave and go, you know?
So it's not like they murdered her, but they didn't stop her.
Right. Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Christina's sister Helen claimed Christina was drugged just prior to the wedding, and when she came to, married. She just accepted it. Indeed,
So she didn't
the
really want to
police
get
reports-
married. She's one of those women that, like, how do I say it? It's like they can't. Some women just don't want to speak up. Some women can't speak up, right? Obviously, this is the 40s, so these hoes was definitely way more timid because they're probably getting beat. But then now, not saying every man is abusive, but just so happen if they were, it's probably not going on the local crime beat. I got that from Family Guy.
States that there was
American Dad,
a strong suspicion that Christina's state of mind was something other than normal for a while before her death. They believed that the mind-altering effects were a result of drugs or medication. It's unclear if Christina was self-administering these drugs or if she was being drugged. Helen also claimed that Christina appeared to fear both Jack and Ronald. The owner of a home that Ronald and Jack lived in together said that Christina had mentioned she was worried something bad may happen if Ronald went with them on their honeymoon. It appears Christina was right to be worried. Jack went on to marry another woman 3 years after the tragedy, and the two of them lived
He might be from Atlanta.
a short while in the same home he briefly shared with Christina. Jack started a family with her, but they separated in the late 60s.
Do you think he was like, this honeymoon's a lot better than my last one?
I'm sure he did.
She
What
was
did he
like,
do with his
"Oh, what do you
man?"
mean?" It's actually a very sad story.
Yeah.
Jack never spoke of the incident or his first marriage. In fact, his son Richard and daughter-in-law Sharon only discovered this part of Jack's life after Sharon came across an article while doing family research at a library. Even though they uncovered the story,
that used to be one of my biggest fears, like discovering something from one of my family members where there was like a secret, like whether like a secret porn star or like a serial killer or
while
some
Jack
shit
was
like
still
that.
alive, they never broached the topic with him before his death in 1998. As for Ronald,
Or they had, like,
he
a
moved to New
past
York
life.
in 1956. Before he left, he gifted his Pekingese dog named Ling to Jack's son Richard, who was 2 years old at the time.
Alright, that's gay.
And then,
Oh.
Ronald was never heard from again. Was Christina Kettlewell murdered by two of the closest people in her life in a sinister plan to break a tragic love triangle and collect insurance money? Did the bride endure great internal strife to which she saw no end? Perhaps it was simply a freak accident that took a young life. In any case, it appears that the death of the 8-day bride will remain unsolved.
For them, I'll break it down to you like this in the next 20 seconds. I told you about the coincidence rule. The coincidence is either her murder or the fire. One of the two. Her death or the fire. One of the two is a coincidence. One of them's a coincidence. The other one was done on purpose. Now I'm going with the fire was done on purpose. I truly believe that the death might have just been either the death was a coincidence or they killed her. One of the two. But I'm a go ask Reddit.
Bye.